Okay, so you can see the ones over here on the right hand side of the vehicle, up over the muffler. So that one and that one, and so I've got my 19mm breaker bar. So this is really what I'm using here, and a hammer, small blow hammer, to just sort of shock percussion those, because I don't know when they've been off. It doesn't look like they've ever been off. But got the ones on the left hand side done. These are the last two, and then we'll pull the bumper straight out, I think. Okay, well, the original bumper is now off the vehicle, and was a little challenge, not too much. Probably the biggest thing was that the bolts that hold the right hand side of it on, that's right over the exhaust, those are a little bit tighter. I had to break out the impact gun to be able to free the last bolt, which is the most rearward of the vehicle. Another thing too, if you still got your end caps and going to keep the end caps on, this is the plastic boss on the end cap, and this is the screw that goes into it. It's a flathead screw. Make sure that you pull this completely out, because if you don't, it's probably going to stick in the body work, and then you're going to sit there and wrestle with this thing trying to get it out, and you're going to get frustrated. So there's you another tip. All right, well, the UPS driver just arrived, and thankfully I was able to drop these here at the garage, which is nice. So these are the two boxes for the bumper, I'm assuming. There's a couple other things. There's some grease caps and things like that for the wheels to finish up the Mercedes wheel project. And then this big box here is for a future video and project that I'd like to get done by the weekend if possible. I'm gonna leave that one as a surprise, but you can see it's a pretty big box in comparison to the others. Not quite as heavy, but take a guess as to what that could be before the next video before it drops. All right, well, it's time to get the rear of the van cleaned up a little bit. I'm gonna take some degreaser and try to clean up some of the grime and things from where the original bumper was, and then it's going to be open up the boxes, and let's get to some installation. Okay, well, there is the first box open, and that looks like it's the main piece that's got the hitch part to it. Yep, sure is. So, all right, no wonder that one was heavier. All right, well, we'll pull that one out here in a few moments, but we're going to open up the second box next. All right, well, there's the main piece out of the box. So you can see there's the big step part to the bumper and the hitch. And I gotta tell you, that thing is rock solid. I don't know if you've seen the video, but I think they put one of these things on and hook some of their D-rings up and lift an entire Vanagon up using like a front end loader or something like that. And seeing how this, I'm telling you, that is good. So yeah, I'm really excited to get this on the vehicle. All right, next box. Okay, well, so far that's all the hard parts that came out of both boxes. So not only were they packed really well in shipping peanuts, but they've also been bubble wrapped for protection. That's the kit for all the hardware. So the nuts and bolts, stuff like that. So these are probably the mounts that go into those rectangular holes on either side where the original bumper pieces went into. So that's going to be interesting. So far, I've not found instructions yet. They may be either in that package there, or they may be in the big box, and I got a couple of other parts that I'm looking for too. Like I said, the wheel grease caps, things like that. So let's keep digging into them. Well, there's, I think, everything out of the boxes and out of the bubble wrap. So those are the left and right flanking pieces, I believe. You know, for the rear facing, and then those pieces right there go along the back sides on that corner, you know, side there. And you can take a look on the inside of these things. I mean, they're powder coated. You know, I mean, they're just. I've not had any experience with any of the other aftermarket Vanagon style bumpers, but I gotta tell you, so far I'm really impressed as far as the quality of what I'm seeing here and the heavy duty feel of these things. So speaking of heavy duty, so these are the mounts. So that's what goes into those rectangular holes. And you can see it's a little bit different. So these two holes here, they should line up where the original bumper mounts go. But then it goes all the way over here. There's a third point. You don't have to drill. I don't think you do anyway. We're going to find out. So anyway, so yeah, that's another attachment point. Makes that whole structure right there, you know, extend a little bit deeper into the body of the van, and the frame of it all, and should add for a good bit of structural strength too. All right, well, so far I've not been able to find the instructions, but if I'm not mistaken, I think they are available as a PDF on the Van Cafe website. So I'm going to go and print those off, and we'll get started on what needs to be out of this box. I think these have to go on the van first, and then that piece, which I may have to get the jack or something like that to help me keep it in place while I do this, because this is a one-man band kind of deal today. Well, there's all the hardware out of the little plastic bag, so yeah, you got a lot of variety here about what's what. You got some plastic bits here, but you got some pretty heavy duty. There's some hex style, and you got these bolts. You've got carriage bolts here. You got some lock nuts here. You know, pretty hefty washers. One thing to suggest here is that if you're missing a couple of your washers in any of these sizes, double check your J-clips, because see, there's one right there. They like to go hiding off in that little area right in there. So yeah, just double check, you know, make sure. See, there is another one. So it pays to double check. So all right, well, let's start bolting things together. There's the center section bolted up. So carriage bolts are on. Word to the wise, you're going to want to have a longer socket to get enough clearance to get those lock nuts in there. But yeah, that's looking good. All right, next is going to be, I think, the J-clips that go in to these sections here for these holes, and then both side parts mount on. And, yep, keep on moving. J-clips are on, so there's 6 to a side. You want to have the flat surface facing you, and on the inside there's a threaded piece on the back side, and that's where I guess that's where these little guys go into when we mount the flanking pieces here. So we're about to find out. Well, it's both sides on, and looking pretty good so far. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. I'm going to say this: the left side seems to be going on a little bit better than the right side on this vehicle for some reason. But if you're going to use the manual hex wrench, you might have a couple of skin knuckles. Just make sure you don't strip out the hex inside of here. All right, next is going to be the side pieces that go on. So there's on either side, I've already put those J clips in here. There's going to be some smaller Allen screws and stainless washers that go on. And then should be, I'm going to keep this pretty loose for right now, because one thing that I want to do, my vehicle already had the mountings for the bumpers caps. So I'm going to see if those will fit, if I'm going to wind up having to drill those out for the other bolts. I may have to do that, and if I do that, then I'm going to need to do a little bit of primer in there too, and just make sure that it doesn't become a massive rust spot somewhere down the road for me or somebody else. All right, well, let's see if we can get those put on. Okay, well, that is the bumper installed. So I've got everything tightened up. Here's on the left-hand side, that's how the side panels are. And then right-hand side. So yeah, I think that it's certainly a lot more heavy-duty than the original bumper. Heaven forbid somebody tries to smash into you on that, because they're probably not going to fare too well unless they come real high and hit you in the tailgate and miss the bumper altogether. But that's pretty much it for right now. This can be done with hand tools. It's kind of, unless you've got an electric ratchet or an air ratchet, something like that, to get into some of those tight spaces, especially when it came to the carriage bolts to put the main piece on. That was kind of tight. Again, you're going to want a long socket. I used a 19 millimeter for the for those lock nuts. When you're putting in the top pieces here for the side, when you're putting in these nuts, make sure that this whole side panel here is pretty loose. So you got that particular one, that needs to be loose, that needs to be loose. And another piece is that when you've got your ratchet on this, bring it out here, you know, bring it out to the side over here. Don't let your hand slip or let the ratchet slip and smash into your tail lights, and because you're probably going to cry when you have to go order another one. Second thing that I would advise would be double check the hole. Even if you had the original bumper end cap on this particular one, it did have that, but the hole was misaligned. So I don't know where that fault lies. At this point, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it could have been something that was dealer done. It could have been something at the factory. It could have been, you know, a number of different things. But double check the hole that mounts this piece here on that bracket. You're probably going to wind up having to drill another hole into the body, and if you do, put a little bit of primer or something like that into the hole. That way it doesn't start rusting out. But for now, guys, that is the bumper installed. And hope that this, if you're thinking about one of these, check out Van Cafe, Rocky Mountain Westy. They're not sponsoring this. I like their products. I like their service. Of course, I like a lot of our Vanagon vendors out there. They've done us a great service, and especially during this time of what's going on in the year 2020, which is when this is filmed. I can see one thing right now, and that is these bumpers. I've been trying to find these things on their site, and they keep going out of stock. So I think they're selling them about as quickly as they're making them, which is the reason why I didn't get the front bumper yet. But anyway, that's wrapping it up for tonight.